So today I'm just going to be doing a leetcode problem in Java, a medium level one, because I got some feedback on my last video and I was told that it was too easy. But I think this one should be considered an easy level problem rather than a medium level problem, because for this problem I think all you need to know are conditionals and all you need to know are loops. And I wish I could do this problem in Python, because Python feels more like pseudocode to me and it's really easy. And I feel like I'm cheating on Python right now, but it's fine. I need to know Java, and as much as I hate it, I need to learn it. So we're doing this with no GPT because we don't need GPT, and we can learn to code without GPT. So let me start on the problem, and let me actually go through what the problem is asking us first. So the problem is called the sign of an array, and so implement a function sign func x that returns 1 if x is positive, -1 if x is negative, and 0 if x is equal to 0. You are given an integer array nums. Let product be the product of all values in the array nums. Return sign func product. So if this is our input, then we can return this as our output. So we're not really calculating what the number is going to be over here. I mean, you could do that and have it be like, if num equals 0, return 0. If num's less than 0, return -1. If num's more than 0, return 1. And we could obviously do it that way, but I think we can do it in a much simpler way using conditions and loops. So let's start the problem here. We already have our class and stuff here, so we don't have to worry about that. We just have to worry about the problem. And so we'll start by doing this. And what I'm essentially doing here is I'm assuming that the product is positive, because if you multiply no numbers at all, the default is just going to be positive, not 0. So we'll only flip this if something changes. So if a negative number pops up or if a 0 pops up. So sign equals 1 is just saying, like, so far this multiplication is positive. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to create a for loop. And you could obviously create a for loop going like int I equals 0, I is less than num's length, I plus plus. But this is a lot simpler way to do the loop. And so we're just going to do it this way. And what we're just doing here is we're checking every index of num in nums. And we want to check if we see a 0 or count how many negatives we see. If a number is 0, we're just going to return 0 immediately. So we can obviously write that over here and we're just going to keep this inside the for loop and not go outside of it, because our condition is set for it to be inside the for loop. So we're just going to return 0, because 0 times anything is always going to be 0. So we don't even have to really worry about that. And then we're going to keep this in the for loop still, but we can keep it outside of the first if statement. And we're going to do if num is less than 0, sign okay. And essentially what we're doing here is every time we multiply a negative, we're just flipping the sign. So what we're essentially doing here is we're just flipping the sign every time we multiply by a negative. So if we see 1 negative, we'll flip the sign 1 time. If we see 2 negatives, we're going to flip the sign 2 times, and it'll just switch back to positive. We don't need to count them. We can just flip them. So it's a lot easier that way. You could obviously do something of the sorts of like count plus plus, and then if count is do %2 equals 1, you could just do like return -1, and then else return +1. But I think that this is a lot simpler of a way to do it. I don't think the syntax on that was right, but this is a lot simpler way to do it. And then we can just return our final sign. And we'll just do this outside of the loop. We just return that outside of the loop. This is not outside of the loop. That is my mistake, guys. I'm sorry. And then we can just return outside of the loop. and then it should run fine. And then yeah, we're done. And I think this problem is pretty easy. I don't think it should be considered a medium level problem. Oh, it's considered an easy level problem. Okay. My mistake. I'm sorry. But yeah, that's it.